Today on the Game Marks podcast, we take it to the backyard as we plug in and play Backyard Wrestling. Don't try this at home. We are joined by the backyard legend, Nick Stapp, and we find out once and for all whose yard it is. Plug in and put on those nostalgia goggles because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks!
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast. My name is George Feast.
And I'm Johnny Clash, and this week we are playing Backyard Wrestling. Don't try this at home, and we are joined by Nick Stapp.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little cold, but other than that, I'm
Putting on a little hoodie.
yeah. Unfortunately, the guys can see right into my life right now, and I am quite cold, so I'm exposed right now, but not as cold as I would be if I were wrestling outdoors right now.
That's true.
Very
Well,
true.
actually, as we record this, it is a beautiful day outside. So,
Which only means it's going to rain at some point today because it rains every time we record.
yeah, that's very true. As always, guys, we love to hear from you. So please leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts, and make sure to subscribe wherever you choose to listen, and join the conversation on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. John, Nick, man, how's quarantine treating you?
I feel like I haven't changed my clothes in a couple days. You know, showers are sparse. But we're getting by. We're getting by with some games and stuff. Today I played some NHL Hits 03. I played some Mayhem. I played some Batman for the Game Boy. Yeah, we're surviving.
Ooh. Nick, how about you?
I mean, I've been showering every day, changing my clothes on a regular basis. I have like 6 home workout apps on my phone, and they all have voice commands, so I kind of feel like I'm associating with someone. I'm just not. And they're telling me I'm doing a really good job because I managed to do 10 push-ups, so it's all
There you
about
go.
positive reinforcement here in the Nick household.
Absolutely.
So how do we feel about last week's game, Rumble Roses? Did you cry in a corner like for an hour like me?
Bleach showers come to mind.
Bleach
just
showers.
a lot of disinfectant. Just I felt dirty.
Just don't
felt
inject
like
it.
I needed to. Don't inject any sort of cleaning product.
Please don't do that.
But yeah, I mean, gameplay was fun. Graphics still feel uncomfortable, but
I
made it work. How about you?
I may have rewatched it a couple times. Just saying.
At least you're
Rewatched, replayed.
consistent with the creepiness.
Yeah, at least it's consistent.
Say, if for nothing else, at least you're consistent.
At least I'm consistent. Speaking of consistent, we had a contest going on for the past month where all you had to do was give us 5-star rating and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and you will be eligible to win a Cody Rhodes autograph. That contest ends today. So get your submissions in. If you're listening on a Monday, get them in. So let's read our latest one. Thank you, Game Marks. This podcast is one of the best when it comes to talking about wrestling video games. Whenever I'm thinking about a game to play in the future, I always use this podcast as a reference on whether I play the game or not. Thank you guys so much. No, thank you.
That's awesome. That's pretty much what we wanted to do when we were making this podcast, was that, you know, there are so many wrestling video games out there that if you're going to build your collection and you want to be a little choosy about what games, come to us. We'll play
Come
them
to
for
us.
you first and let you know whether it's worth your money.
Because we're going to play literally everything ever made, so.
Everything. And we have plans after we play through all the wrestling video games, so don't worry. We're in it for
Well,
the
by
long
the time you're done with all of them,
Unfortunately for
there's
you,
going to be
sorry.
like 12 new games. So you're set.
Exactly.
There's going to be there's going to be 2K20, there's going to be the 2K20 remake. At least those.
And with that, we're going to head over to gaming news.
Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at VGFgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
WWE 2K21 has been officially canceled. It was revealed recently in WWE's latest earnings call that the next game in the 2K series won't be debuting this year, which would have been WWE 2K21. It had been rumored that the next game would be skipping a year after the disappointing performance of 2K20, and once WWE made it official, all eyes went to 2K to see what they would do next, and what else they had planned for the WWE moving forward. The good news is we don't have to wait much longer to find out, as 2K spokesperson confirmed to us that the future of the franchise will be addressed Monday morning. That's today. So unfortunately, we don't have the update for you since we recorded this a day early, but we will come back with the update next week on what is happening in the 2K franchise. And that's really all the gaming news we have in quarantine. We'll see you next week. Yeah, so I don't know what we're going to see. Some people are saying it's probably like Supercard 2 or something.
I don't know. You know what? Wild speculation here. What if they went back and they listened to some of our earlier episodes and we questioned what kind of mashups we would like to see in video games, and they use one of those? What if we get Crush Hour 2, John?
What if we get the hockey game I wanted featuring the wrestlers?
Oh, even better.
I could dream, right?
Hey, you never know. You can never know. What if they came out with like worst case scenario, what if it was just an entire GM mode game?
Oh, people love that, but I can't do it. I can't sit there and fantasy book like that.
Don't like it. Was not a big fan of it when it was in the games. Still not a fan of it.
It's just so time consuming. There was actually one game, one of the SmackDown vs. Raws. Can't remember exactly which one. It was for PlayStation 3, I want to say. I did an entire storyline where you put in the cutscenes, you create the story, you type the text on everything. Like, I had a keyboard plugged into my PS3. I wrote this whole long,
you went in.
It was like a 2-year-long storyline. I did maybe like 6 months, just like one shot, just kept going. Game crashes. I lost those 6 months. I was like, okay, I'm done with this. And then like
you went in on it.
Yeah, and like you go back and
keyboard?
Yeah, you just plug a USB keyboard into the
I know you could do it, but I don't know anybody that really went that hard into it.
Oh, I went hard. But I think as soon as you like even start to play the game, like the cutscenes, it just freezes. So there was no point in it. That was it. That's
Nick,
where I turned.
Were you a GM mode person?
The only SmackDowns I had, or the only SmackDowns I played or owned that had GM mode were like 2007. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. It was fun, but I just liked playing. Yeah, was
that might have been the same
mode,
one.
Was career mode and GM mode the same thing? I don't remember. It's been.
Career mode is like you play through as your character, and then
I was always a career mode guy, not really a GM mode guy.
Yeah, GM mode is like you build the whole pay-per-view, you pick the storylines, you're booking Raws and SmackDowns and house shows, and you're like building up this whole thing, and like if you wanted to go in and play a match here and there, you had the opportunity to do that, but like
I wasn't a huge GM mode fan, which is strange because I literally spent hundreds of hours of my life playing EWR. I don't know if you guys are familiar with EWR.
Please explain.
Johnny,
Don't start now. Forget it.
Is it an EFED?
No, tell us. Let us know what it is.
It is a wrestling simulator game for a computer, but it's a little more realistic than GM mode, I'd say, just because like you have to sign guys and stuff but you could pick like any promotion, you could edit. There's mods for it that come out every month. I just downloaded it again recently. I played it for like 3 hours, and I was like, all right, that's enough.
Huh.
It's too time consuming.
I remember downloading that, and that's exactly it. It was like too time consuming, and I was like, yeah, nope, I'm good.
I've literally spent hundreds of hours of my life playing that game, and yikes.
See, I feel like with games, I need a payoff. Like, if I'm not doing a career mode to go win the championship at WrestleMania, like, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Well, for me, the payoff was making XPW the number one promotion on Earth, which never happened. So
there you go. But anyway, what do you say we get to the question of the week?
All right.
Finally, the Game Marks podcast has our own Pro Wrestling Tees store. Brace yourself because the Game Marks podcast is now on ProWrestlingTees.com, featuring multiple designs created by us. Head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod today to play it forever.
All right, so the question of the week is a weekly segment, believe it or not, where John and I go back and forth and ask each other's questions, and then we like to go and ask you guys the questions as well, and then you send us your responses via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, any kind of social media at GameMarksPod. Last week, John's question was, if you were going to recast any of the Marine movies, who would you put in that lead spot? And boy, did we
From
get
the Attitude Era. It had to be from like
From the
98
Attitude
to
Era.
99-ish.
All right, so on the spot, Nick, you have to recast the Marine with a wrestler from the Attitude Era. Who's your pick?
Terry Funk.
Perfect.
Oh,
Perfect.
I love it. I love it. All right,
How insane would that be?
that's phenomenal.
Your mother's a whore.
It's either Terry Funk or D'Lo Brown. I'm gonna go with Terry Funk.
I can't record this day. My horse is sick.
He just leave the set one day. From,
Never
like, just
comes
completely
back.
unannounced.
I retired from acting.
I'll
I'll be back for the Marine too.
Sorry.
No, but it wouldn't be Terry Funk. It would be Chainsaw Charlie in the Marine 2
As Terry Funk.
Yeah,
as Terry Funk.
I like that.
All right.
No, Terry Funk could be a completely separate character.
Head on over to our Twitter page if you want to see some replies. We got some good ones. We made some fantasy movie DVD covers if you want to check those
I
out.
was
Georgie,
just going to give you a shout out, John. Those posters that you made, phenomenal.
I try.
They were so well done that some of the people you put in the posters found them and actually liked the posters. So
there you go. Maybe it'll come to fruition. But
primo. Maybe we'll get some extra guests on the podcast.
who knows? But this week, Georgie, it's your turn to ask us the question.
All right. So, in light of the recent announcement of the official cancellation of the 2K series for wrestling, there is a big void to be filled here. So, I wanted to know if you were going to resurrect any previous series from wrestling, doesn't have to be WWE based, if you were going to fill that void with the either return or revival or a remastered edition of a game, what are you picking to fill that void?
Okay. So I think you asked this question a while back in kind of different terms, but now that like we don't have a game coming next year, I think it makes a little more sense. I believe I said I want to revive the Mayhem series last time. Obviously, because
But
why
that's not a series. That's a single game. I'm saying if you wanted
I consider it a
so, like,
series because a Backstage Assault was after it, even though that was the worst game in wrestling
But that's
history.
just WCW games. I'm talking about like you're gonna revamp like like there's multiple games and you're gonna be like we're bringing back, you know, hypothetically we're bringing back SmackDown vs Raw. Or we're bringing back, you know, just the SmackDown games as a whole. Or
Okay. That's my issue with this question because I've seen people on Facebook the past week like, they need to bring back SmackDown vs. Raw. It's like, okay, but that's just a name because the SmackDown vs. Raw game evolved into the 2K games. They're not that far off.
So then let's flip the script here. So the question was originally what we're gonna do to fill the void if you're gonna bring back something. If you were gonna make a new IP, what's the premise? Because my initial thought is I would love to see a full NXT game
Okay, but that...
where it's just a game but it's focused around almost like how you would have like because it's not like the minor leagues, but you know you have like the minor league games or you have like the you know
like NCAA.
Yeah, but like I feel bad saying that like NXT is the college version of but like you get something like that where it's not a full on like you're getting The Rock and Stone Cold, but like you get a full on NXT game where maybe the unlockables are the NXT alum. Like you can unlock a Seth Rollins, but it's not Seth Rollins now. It's Seth Rollins from his NXT days. And you get a Rusev,
right.
but it's a Rusev from NXT.
Rest in peace. Yeah, I just think that's a little limiting. It would be cool though. Maybe like a DLC or something. I don't know. Like one of those
Maybe it's
$20 games.
I'll say maybe it's not. Maybe it's only a digital release, like something that just comes out on like the PlayStation Network or the Xbox Store.
I would go Impact. I want a new Impact game. I want this game to be like Impact forever. I want the 6-sided ring. I want the square ring. I want the roster from back then. I want the roster now all the way up. I want everyone. I want from Sanjay Dutt to Jordan Grace. I want everyone in there.
Nick, what about you?
The flying Elvises. I just in the stage of like everyone is into nostalgia stuff, even though like they pretend they don't like old wrestling, everyone loves old wrestling once it's like in front of them. I think that to kind of like piggyback on what John said before, like something like Mayhem, something between like Mayhem and like what like Nitro was, kind of like it's kind of like an arcade game instead of like a competitive wrestling video game where you're like, oh, I gotta do GM mode or I gotta unlock all this stuff. Like you could unlock stuff, but there's like more of an incentive at the end of it. But it's like I don't know, I just feel like a game that's more fun than like just people freaking out over DLC stuff. I think that would like really work, just because like everyone likes Animal Crossing and shit like that. So I feel like just something that's like more fun and again kind of like arcade style would be I think that would tap into today's market of, you know, just fun stuff that makes you not feel like you're playing video games as a chore. So something between Mayhem and Nitro, I think would be fun.
Cool.
I actually just had another idea. What if they resurrected the Legends of Wrestling series?
Ooh, I'm in with that because there's a lot of people they didn't include and a lot of people they can include now.
I was going to say, it's a wrestling game. You can use the, you know, considering you start from scratch, you build a whole new engine, a whole new...
let's keep the engine.
Well, no, I'm thinking you build a whole new engine. That way it's something to build up from, and you essentially start over, because clearly repurposing an old engine did not work for the 2K series this year. So you start over, because what they did is repurpose the 2K18. We learned that in our episode with Justin Leeper. All they did was just repurpose the 2K18 engine. So you start over from scratch. You build an entire new engine, and you really perfect that engine in this Legends of Wrestling game, and then you use that as a springboard into the new wrestling series. Maybe they bring back just WWE and then the year, and like that's the new. They bring that back, but with this like a new engine.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think this is as big of a bummer as this is. I'm very interested to see what comes along and fills this void, because the landscape is wide open.
It's wide open right now.
So, with that, let us know what your options are on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. And speaking of nostalgic old games, what do you say we jump into this week's game, guys?
Let's dive headfirst off of a roof into it. Hey guys, Johnny here. While we love talking about video games and wrestling here on the podcast, we wanted to share with you a new offer from our friends at Stitcher. An enormous amount of shows and bonus episodes are available on Stitcher Premium, such as Office Ladies, Comedy Bang Bang, WTF with Mark Aaron, How Did This Get Made, Bitch Sesh, True Crime Garage, Marvel's Wolverine, and plenty more. Right now you could sign up for Stitcher Premium for only $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year using our code GameMarksPodcast. That's all one word. Head on over to Stitcher.com/premium for this amazing deal and a free month. That's Stitcher.com/premium and use code GameMarksPodcast. That's all one word. Game on, Marks.
All right, so Backyard Wrestling. Don't try this at home. Released October 7th, 2003 for the PS2 and October 9th, 2003 for the Xbox. Developed by Paradox Development and published by Eidos Interactive. This is a weird. It almost feels like a weird hybrid of.
It almost feels like you're high.
It feels like Def Jam meets Mayhem. Like it's got wrestling aspects, but it's just like chaos all over the place.
I would say Def Jam meets Backstage Assault.
Yeah, or just the brawling section of Here Comes the Pain.
Yes.
It's like watching a Def Jam walkthrough on YouTube, but in like 1.5 speed.
Yeah, okay. You do move very fast as your character, but then like when you go to grapple or pick someone up, it's like super slow. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
There's a couple of different like things to do in this game so it does have like replayability. Like there is just your exhibition mode. There is your tag mode, which was not what you would think it is. It's not a tag team match where you pick two wrestlers against two wrestlers. It's actual tag. Like you hit the guy with a move, they are now on fire. They have to hit you with the move, so then you are on fire. Last person on fire is the loser. Makes sense. A lot of unlockables, a lot of FMVs, a lot of characters that you know and don't know.
Do we want to take a second and talk about, break down each one of those things? Do we want to start talking just with those FMVs? Do we want to?
We could start with the FMVs, yeah.
So first of all, that opening cinematic is it's all over the place. It's got everything. You start this game, it opens. You've got clips of backyard wrestling. You've got what would
Major
we call
Guns.
them? You got scantily clad women. That was the term I was looking for. That was thrown around back in the day.
Eye candy.
Eye candy. There you go. How come there's not a wrestler called Eye Candy?
I'm sure there has been.
Consider it done.
Yeah, consider it done.
Nick's changing his name again.
Eye candy next step.
It's not bad. Make a T-shirt where your eye is like one of those little peppermints.
Ooh, no, it's gonna be like my eye is like a Sour Patch Kid or something.
Sour Patch Nick. That'll be your finishing move. So these FMVs you unlock by completing random objectives in the game throughout fighting through different venues. Most of them are taken from the Backyard Wrestling series of DVDs, which, anybody have those as a kid?
I used to rent them like weekly from Blockbuster.
Yeah, anything that was stupid in wrestling, I was just like, bring it to me.
I didn't need the DVDs. I lived it every week.
I was just going to say, I feel like Nick lived that Backyard Wrestling life.
I wanted to be that so bad, but all I had was a basement with like ropes around bar stools, and that's what we used.
That was going to be my next question. Were you a backyard wrestler?
Basement wrestler. We had one pay-per-view outside where I used I used an ab crunch machine as the ramp, and we had like an old TV that didn't work as the Titantron, and then we just took lawn chairs and just wrapped string around them, and they kept falling throughout the whole thing.
I got to tell you though, that's a hell of a premise. The basis of your wrestling federation was that it was a basement show, and then your Mania or your pay-per-views were outside.
It got hot down there, so if it was summer, we were outside.
Talk about storytelling.
Yeah. Storytelling, yeah. I wish I had the video of that. I have the basement videos, but we didn't record the outdoor one.
The road to the backyard.
Where's that storyline in a video game?
Tell me more.
The road to outside wrestling.
So why don't you tell us about the first FMV you unlock?
So the first one in the backyard level was Backyard Babes 101, which I feel like of all the FMVs to unlock, for that to be the first one really tells you the kind of game that this is. There were several times where a cold water bottle had to be sprayed at Johnny Clash while we were watching this.
Yep.
He was getting a little too excited. And
mostly for the Bowling for Soup Punk Rock 101 song.
That's what I was going to say next. It's accompanied by Punk Rock 101 by Bowling for Soup.
This game had a great soundtrack. It had Punk Rock 101. It had American Hi-Fi. I mean, a lot of the songs.
CKY on there.
This is pretty good as we were playing.
So, I mean, the soundtrack for this game is nuts. You have Sum 41, ICP, obviously, Rancid, CKY, Spine Shank, Anthrax, Dropkick Murphys. Like, they're literally, we mentioned Bowling for Soup. There's literally a who's who of.
So their budget went completely to the soundtrack, is what you're saying?
Yes. Andrew
Explains a
WK.
lot.
Yeah. Andrew WK was on like any extreme video game in this era, like 2003. Like I would just played NHL hits. He was right there. I think he was even like a playable character.
He was a playable character in some. Was it one of the Tony Hawk games?
I think so, yeah. I remember him in the white shirt with like the blood down his face and Tony Hawk doing like an air Christ.
So believe it or not, there is actually a story mode. Oh wait, should we go back to the FMVs and just talk about the other ones or no?
We can.
All right, so aside from that FMV with the Backyard Wrestling Babes, the other ones are pretty much, they have titles such as Collateral Damage, Kids Today, which is pretty much just more cuts from Backyard Wrestling DVDs.
A lot of chair shots to the head.
Yeah.
A lot of chair shots. There's one where someone jumps like 15 feet off of, I guess, like the upper stands through a table, and Clash
like
pops
bleachers.
huge for that.
It was a great splash.
Was that
Like Jimmy Snuka level.
M-Dog 20, Matt Cross? Is that splash?
Yeah, that's right.
Still,
if it was him, then yeah, it's good.
he still
We know
wrestles
he's good.
to this day in real wrestling arenas. Pretty wild.
And we
Wait,
see-
is that who did that
I
dive?
think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That explains so much.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's all I needed to hear.
That's all you needed here.
So believe it or not, this game actually features a story mode, and the story mode starts by, I guess you could call it like a Jerry Springer ripoff.
Yeah, it's called talk show mode.
Yeah, and the name of the show is Today's Topic, which is just the perfect creative name for this.
Like question of the week.
So the talk show host is a nameless character, but happens to resemble Kevin Gill, who is one of the game's creators. And throughout the show, he interviews different victims and personalities through Backyard Wrestling. So in between those interviews, the character gets pit up against 3 other Backyard Wrestlers. And believe it or not, you actually have to fight these 3 Backyard Wrestlers with a single health bar, which
I couldn't even fight you with a
Sounds-
single health bar.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, which sounds, I guess, possible because there are, in in one of the first couple of matches of SmackDown through the season mode, you immediately get put into a handicap match against the APA. So, and your character has 0 stats.
Yeah, there's actually different arenas and locations that are in this game. I wouldn't call them arenas because most of them are outdoors.
I was going to say, they're locations.
But there's like the standard backyard arena, which has like a dad grilling, and he could light you on fire, of course, which is a house. You could climb on top of the house and dive off of it. That was one of the weird parts of this game. The environment's all usable, but like it takes you forever to climb up on top of something, and then like all you have to do is move the thumbstick a little bit, and you just fall right off.
That's what I was going to say.
Standing.
Like, it feels like they give you the opportunity to climb up stuff, and then
You can't really
never
like,
get to, like,
jump
jump
off.
off.
It's weird. It's a little weird dynamic. But other than standard backyard, there's a slaughterhouse. There's an outdoor parking lot. The talk show set, a strip club, and each environment has like so many weapons. Like you could take a shopping cart, you could take a mannequin, a bicycle, whatever you see,
Fish.
like on the ground is pretty much a fish is able to be picked up. So there's like barbed wire bats, fluorescent light tubes, tables, chairs. But yeah. The weirdest one, I think, was like the mannequin that kind of explodes, and then you could just take the arm and just start beating the guy with the arm of the mannequin.
No, I think the fish takes the key.
You could throw the fish, which is great.
Fish, like an actual fish, not the band fish.
Not the band fish, but that was in the strip club. Once you break the glass of the fish tank, you can take the fish and just start chucking them. But don't get too close to the poles because the girls will 619 you.
From the stripper pole.
619. That's 619.
Now, I want to jump into this roster, but before we do that, I want to mention one small detail that I noticed when futzing around with the settings for this game.
You're what?
I was futzing, fiddling, toying around with the settings, adjusting the music volume and stuff.
That's what I was doing to the babes one.
There are three difficulty settings. There is normal, there's hard. And then if you guys were going to guess what the third difficulty is, what would you say?
Extra hard.
I know what it is, but I'm gonna
Mega
just
hard.
let you go.
Major. Go
Nick,
ahead.
I know how
give it.
uncomfortable these things make George, so I'm just gonna let you ride with it.
Porn star is the
Oh.
third difficulty.
All right, so I was close.
So you have normal, you have hard, and then you have porn star. Which just, I don't know how that fits into a grading scale, but okay.
All right.
All right, so
Yeah.
for this roster, I would like Nick to take us through this roster just because he's the guest, and I feel like this is going to be a fun roster for him to
Yeah,
go through.
I think he should, since most of them are from ICP's own federation, the Juggalo Champion Shit
Oh
Wrestling.
yeah, I got that VHS somewhere. That is prime watching
Slim
material.
Anus. You damn right, Slim Anus.
It's got Iron Sheik in a suicide dive contest. Anyway, so
I humble you.
spoiler: there's no suicide dive. This is quite the roster. There are people that you are going to recognize if you're just a regular wrestling fan. There are people who you're going to recognize if you own Juggalo Championship Wrestling Volume 1 on VHS. So, without further ado, we got Violent J, Shaggy 2 Dope, Madman Pondo, the Rude Boy, not of the independent wrestling.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
Josh Prohibition, M-Dog 2020, otherwise known as Matt Cross, who still wrestles. Actually, Josh Prohibition still wrestles, but JCW's Evil Dead, who I think is Shaggy 2 Dope's brother in real life. Jamie Madrox.
Poor guy.
Monoxide Child. Sabu, obviously. Tom Dub. Masked Horn Dog. El Drunko.
That's me.
El Chicharron. Carnage with a K. Gupta. Masked Mike Jackson. Sonny D. Chopper, Atrocity Triple X, who kind of looks like John Morrison, the Commissioner, Damian Red with 2 Ds, Da Bone Doctor, Josh Asbel, Tylene Buck, otherwise known as WCW's Major Guns, Katana Baker, Sally, Jezebel, Rosie, Adrian Payne, and Hernia.
Hernia. What a name. Oh my God. All these are what a name.
Yeah. My favorite is Sally, just because I feel like that is the most non-wrestler name that you could pick.
I liked Mad Mike Jackson because I just picture Michael Jackson in a Michael Jackson mask. Like,
I like Evil Dead because have either of you guys actually seen the original JCW stuff?
No.
So like the Evil Dead character, I think it's like Shaggy 2 Dope's brother under a mask, but it's just like picture. Oh damn it! I was about to say Raksha, but I don't think anyone gets that. Basically, it's just a dude in a mask who's supposed to be actually dead, but he somehow wins all the matches he's in just by proxy of like being dead weight or something like that. I don't remember the exact physics of it, but it was pretty mind-boggling. But yeah, I like Evil Dead.
oh, so he's not Bruce Campbell.
No,
Okay.
no.
All right. So how do you feel about this artwork here? Because Nick, you said in our in a past episode that you asked for SmackDown Here Comes the Pain or just bring in one of those, and you were greeted by this game instead. So how did you feel opening that gift or getting handed that gift and seeing this artwork instead of Brock Lesnar with the blue background?
Right. So, okay, so it was an initial disappointment, which is understandable, especially when you're expecting one thing and you get another thing.
The greatest game ever.
But then, like, I was looking, I was like, oh, you know what? This could be cool. Like, I don't know who's in this game, but I know Backyard Wrestling, and whatever. I still am. If I was the age I am now, and I asked someone for, SmackDown 2K21, which is not going to happen, but let's say it was going to happen, and they were like, oh, sure, we'll get you that, and then instead they gave me, like, a used copy of like the TNA video game, like I'd be a little upset, but then I'd be like, all right, let's make do with this. The artwork, however, is, I mean, the cover is cool because it looks insane, and I know it's like one scene. I think it's one. It looks like it's one scene photoshopped to be in front of someone's house, but it's Matt Cross diving onto someone looking completely insane. And then the back is just like I think
Just fancy flowers.
like it makes the game look a lot more diverse than it actually is. But it's still
For some reason,
It's an interesting
cool.
take on it.
for some reason, it reminds me of that movie Project X. I don't know why.
I've never
Because it looks like a house party.
Yeah, just like that madness of that house party.
Yeah. I'm along
it's
with you
like
on that one. I get that.
It's like
Yeah.
the Metallica Whiskey in the Jar video, but in a video game. If I could think of anything to compare it to.
All right, then the back. We got Jackass meets the Squared Circle in
Yeah.
America's backyard with screenshots of all the
jeez.
chaos and all the arenas in this game. From rooftops to escalators, nothing is off limits. Somehow, someone rated this 4 stars.
I will say this. In terms of the back art, usually it's just like you get like 4 screenshots. This actually is kind of nice. You get like you see a lot more of the game than you usually do. Like it feels like it's more, like we looked at the back art of Here Comes the Pain, and it's 4 screenshots, and I think it's a shot of Rey Mysterio on the back.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this it's 6 screenshots. You really see a little bit of the game here. You kind of know what you're getting into from this. So for that, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it paints a picture of what the game is precisely.
Yeah, you know
Barbed
exactly what
wire,
you're getting into right from the jump.
Yeah, Nick, you had this on PlayStation 2?
Yes. Yeah, PlayStation 2.
I think I want to say I had this on Xbox. I don't remember if I had this one or the second one, though.
Does that make it any
But-
better?
I didn't have this.
No. But the menu music sounded very familiar to me, as did the story mode, so that's why I feel like I did have this one. But if I did have it, it was probably like rented from Blockbuster and returned like immediately. But you want to hit them with some fast facts about this game?
Let's do it.
All right. Fast facts. This game runs on eBay from $6 to $10 used, with a brand new sealed version going for $45.
The game went on to sell nearly 500,000 copies worldwide, which is mind-blowing. One of them was me. Its reception from critics was lukewarm, but player interest was high enough to justify the development of a sequel.
The sequel, Backyard Wrestling 2 There Goes the Neighborhood, was released in 2004 for PlayStation 2 and Xbox, including more wrestlers and moves, but mostly the same gameplay.
And finally, Sum 41's The Hell Song was used during TV commercials advertising this game. So if I'm seeing this commercial and it's Backyard Wrestling and it's all the cool clips of jumping off stuff and hitting people with stuff, and like one of my
100%.
favorite bands back then is playing on it, hell yeah, I'm buying this game.
100% in. I don't think I owned this game, but I definitely think I rented it once or twice.
Yeah, I mean, you had to. You had to rent it at least once.
I think that I was so invested in the other games of this time, and being that this didn't play like those games, I was just like, concept's cool, controllers are fucky, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, see, I wanted everything at this time. I'm like, wrestling, I need it. I need it. I need it. I need it.
Yeah.
I need everything.
Now, one final question, just because it popped into my head right now. When you were a basement/backyard wrestler, what was your entrance theme? What'd you come out to?
What was my entrance theme, you said?
Yeah, like what did you come out to?
Okay, so in traditional backyard wrestling style, I had a new theme song every show, but I eventually did settle on one. My first one ever was Welcome Home Sanitarium by Metallica. Then I think my second or third match, I went to Black by Seven Dust. And then eventually I settled on, I know you guys don't curse on here, so Effin' Hostile by Pantera. That was my song for a while. And then I think eventually what I really actually settled on was Running with the Devil by Van Halen.
Ooh.
Okay. What about you?
Headstrong. Come on. Trapped Headstrong.
Of course.
Why did I know
Friends of
that
the
you were
show,
gonna say
Trapped.
that? Friends
Friend of the Nick.
Nick Stapp. Friend of the Nick Stapp.
If you're listening to this, at Trapped and tell them to fight me. I'll fight all of them the first wrestling show we have back.
So, John, Nick, it's a stressful time in the world right now. I think we all need a little break. I think it's time for a little R&R, some ratings and reviews. Johnny, take us through.
What's up, Game Marks Podcast? This is Danny Tancredi, and I'm here with my brother Johnny Tancredi, and together we are the Caught Looking Podcast. Each week we bring to you the latest news and reviews on all things baseball collectibles. From baseball cards and memorabilia to bobbleheads and stadium giveaways, each episode will discuss the newest products to hit the shelves of your local card store and your favorite ballparks around the country. Be sure to be following us on Instagram at the Caught Looking Podcast and on Twitter at CaughtLookingBB. New episodes drop every Friday, so be sure to tune in wherever great podcasts like this one are available. The Caught Looking Podcast. Don't get caught looking, start collecting.
Okay. All right, we're gonna see who paid for a review here. Okay. Up first, EGM gives the PS2 and Xbox version a 5.67, Game Informer a 5.5 out of 10 for PS2 and Xbox also. GamePro rated the PS2 version a 3.5 out of 5 stars. They did not rate the Xbox version. GameSpot gave a 4.7 out of 10 to the PS2 and a 4.8 to the Xbox. GameSpy for PS2 and Xbox, 1 star. GameZone, 7 out of 10 on PS2, 6.5 out of 10 on the Xbox. IGN with a 6.5 out of 10 across the board. JuxVideo.com gave it an 8 out of 20 for the PS2, whatever that means. They did not rate the Xbox. What the hell? Play gave it a D+. Team Xbox obviously only rated the Xbox version a 6.4 out of 10. Maxim gave it a 2 out of 10 across the board. And
they
here we
paid
go.
for that one.
Yeah, here we go. Playboy, a 75% out of 100 for PS2 and Xbox. And oh boy, Metacritic, a 51 out of 100 for the PS2 and a 50 out of 100 for Xbox. So, generally, we're going with like below average.
Middle of the road.
This game was like just below middle. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you know how I feel about those random, like 5.67. Come on.
Yeah, but I get it because they're probably the ratings of like multiple people just factored in. You know,
too precise. No one has ever looked at a review and went 5.67. Man, if they gave it like a 5.70, I would pick up the game. But 5.67, I can't justify it. No one has ever done that.
I just need a round number.
Then again, I just disregard ratings to begin with, and I just obviously just play like what I like. So that's why I love Mayhem.
And then you make your own. But with that said, we have played the game. Oh, yeah. We have reviewed the artwork. We have talked about the ratings and the reviews. We went through the roster, the arena, and the gameplay. What do you say we get into our weekly tournament called Clash at the Feast? All right. So this was an interesting one. Make sure to go and watch this on our YouTube channel. We had commentary by Nick Stapp. I was Atrocity XXX, and Johnny, you were
Commissioner.
And we fought at the mall, which is a very, very normal place to have a wrestling match.
Like I said, there was the Sandman dressed as Santa throwing fire at us. There was
like actually hot, like actual hot coals.
Yeah. We were bad this year, I guess. There were mannequins, there were bikes. You know, usually like when you beat me in these games, I'm like, oh, come on, I could have had him. This one, I was like, great, he beat me. It's over. I could move on now.
Get me through it. This was where we found the mannequin. This was there was a stop sign involved. There were mannequins. There was a bat. There was hot coal. What else was there?
I'm surprised mall security wasn't called.
It was a big fish.
Oh, yes, the fish. It's just a lot of nonsense happening in this match.
So,
but
explanation. So you can Irish whip your opponent into this giant fish tank, almost like a mini aquarium, which explodes open, and then you can use the fish as a weapon. So I think this might be the first edition of Clash with the Fish.
Clash at the Fish.
Clash at the Fish. Wait a second, that's brilliant.
Clash at the Fish. Okay. I could dig it, because I'm not winning these anytime soon, so.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, you only have a couple more months before season 1 of Clash at the Feast ends.
Okay.
And
Season 1.
yeah, so every year of this podcast, the Clash at the Feast tournament will run, and then it ends at our 1-year anniversary, which is in August, and then it resets and the counter goes back to 0, and we start
Thank
season
God.
2.
Well, as of right now, like we said, you won. You won. It's simple. There's no pins. There are pins, but it was just a knockout. It's easier to knock out the person than figure out how to pin in this game. So you won, bringing you to the score of 19-9 with a draw for both of us. But with that, does anyone know it's the weekend. It's quarantine. I'm losing track of everything. Do you know what time it is?
It's 1:35.
Yep.
It can't be.
Oh, that time.
I think it's time to rate the games.
The game!
So we played this game in great length, and by great length, we couldn't wait to get done with it. We brought Nick Stapp in here because he is the veteran of Backyard Wrestling, the game.
Mr. Backyard Wrestling. He's the RVD of Backyard Wrestling. Mr. Backyard Wrestling himself.
Mr. Thursday morning.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mr. Hops and Pops.
The question we ask every week, would we play it forever? Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
Georgie?
No, future endeavor. I'll go first. Future endeavor. I'm done. Goodbye.
You're fired!
This game is so bad.
All right, that's the Nick's rating. Let's move over to Georgie.
I gave my rating 17 years ago, and I'm sticking with it.
So, all right, but Nick, if you had to give this a decimal rating,
Oh, God.
what would you...
3.16. It sucks.
I wanted to like this game. I really did. I really, really wanted to like this game. It sounded like a cool concept. It sounded like it was going to be something that was like super arcadey and out there and fun and interesting. There's the extra game modes like King of the Hill and Survival and Tag, which is super interesting and like a different concept for tag. I mean, if you do a grapple, your character's set on fire until you can do a grapple to your opponent. Interesting concept. But it just was missing something. It felt like after you played like 5 or 6 matches, it was just kind of on repeat. There was nothing else to, hold you in and pull you in. And for that reason, I got it's an unpopular opinion maybe, but I'm going to future endeavor this game.
You're fired!
What about you, Johnny?
Alright.
How are you feeling?
All right. So I had the nostalgia about the game. I was like, I played it. I don't remember if I liked it or not. It looked like one of those corny, like Simpsons or Celebrity Deathmatchy type gimmick games. But, we gave it a shot because it's a wrestling game, and why not? I remember why I only rented it and didn't buy this game. I have hopes for maybe the second one being a little better, even though I'm pretty sure it's the same exact game, just with different wrestlers. I had zero interest in this game, and I couldn't wait for it to be over. So, future endeavor.
You're fired!
So that's a
wanted
triple
to like
future
it
endeavor
so-
across the board.
Hate to see it.
Is that a game marks triple X? Is that what this is?
Game Marks
Atrocity
Triple X.
It's such a cool concept. I've never played the second one. It's a cool concept. This game sucks, though. I'm sorry. It's not.
It's a gimmick.
Well, I'll make you a deal. When the time comes around, hopefully the quarantine's over and we're able to be playing these games in person again. John and I would love to have you back for Backyard Wrestling.
I will
too.
play Backstage Assault as the only thing I do until the end of time before I play this another day. Just can't.
You want to play Backstage Assault so you can unlock Vince
Yeah,
Russo.
that's fine. But Vince Russo's not in this game. Here's my hope out of this game. I hope M-Dog Matt Cross still gets good royalty checks off this game because this game is completely useless to me otherwise.
Has he been in other games since this?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, unless there was a Lucha Underground game.
I wonder if he's going to
Yeah.
be in that new game.
Virtual Basement?
Well, every wrestler is in Virtual Basement, so
Not every.
Not yet, if there's a creator wrestler mode.
But anyway, Georgie, why don't you tell everyone what we're playing next week on the podcast?
Next week on the podcast, we are playing the handheld game WCW The Main Event. And here's a little bit of a spoiler for you. The North American cover for this game features Johnny Boy's favorite wrestler.
Vampiro's on the cover?
But yeah.
The Maestro's on the cover.
All right, so we put a bow on it, boys.
Before we grace you with this beautiful music, we want to give a big shout out to Platinum Max Caster of the Shook Crew for our new theme song that you're going to hear on the outro.
I feel like audio-wise, very few things make me pop, but to know that Max put his hard work, his hard effort, his brain, friend of the show, friend of the pod, warms my heart. Warms my heart. Well, that's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out our Pro Wrestling Tees stores at prowrestlingtees.com/GameMarksPod. It is currently the best way besides listening to support the podcast, and be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts, and do not forget to subscribe wherever you choose to listen to your podcast. Thanks for hanging out this week. Stay safe. Nick, tell everybody where they can find you.
At Nick Stapp OK on the social medias. I'm not doing anything because there's nothing happening. Actually, in the spirit of this, of us covering this game, I'm going to be sending the boys so they can put it up on their social medias, some old clips of me doing backyard wrestling so you guys can enjoy this.
Well, with that said, we put the cherry on top and we tell Johnny Boy to say goodbye.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future Endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.